तस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Saturday and Sunday series on Shri Harinam Chintamani. We have been discussing chapter 13, which is one of the last offenses and one of the worst offenses to the holy name, attachment to I and mine. In yesterday's class, we saw uh, that one has to take shelter of the holy name. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions the symptoms or the 6 limbs of surrender. And one who is a simple soul, a sincere hearted soul, surrenders to the Lord and he doesn't commit this offense. So from text 22 to 27, what we were seeing is uh, what is the effect of taking shelter of the holy name without surrender. So 22 to 27 yesterday we discussed these verses, and then we discussed from the slides also what some of the important points. Now let us discuss the same section from 28 to 30. The verses first, and then we will discuss the slides. So one who is not taken surrender, he thinks, I am the protector, I am the shelter, this is my wife, this is my brother, this is my daughter, this is my son. I earn money on by my own efforts, and then everything becomes nice. And people who have turned their face like this away from Krishna, they think in terms of I and mine. They are very proud. They are proud of their elaborate knowledge and skills. And they don't know that the Lord controls everything. So text 28, let us see what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has to say. Shri Nama Mahatmya Shuni Vishwas na kare Lok Vyavhare Kabu Krishna Namuchare. Hearing the glories of the holy name, Shri Nama Mahatmya, They do not believe. They do not believe them. Shuni Vishwas na kare. Still, in the course of their ordinary activities, Loka Vyavahare Kabu, they may sometimes say the holy name of the Lord. Krishna Nama Uchare. So, this can refer to even devotees. Please mark this. So, one of the greatest offenses that, in spite of knowing the glories of the holy name, one is still attached to I and mine, which we read every day, the 10 offenses. So we are still attached to I and mine. That means we have still not realized the glories of the holy name. And just for lok vyavhar, or I'm just a bhaya bhakta, external devotee, and you are also taking Krishna Namuchar, but it is not having effect. So how we know that? We know that by next verse, text 29. Krishna Nama Kare Kabu Nahi Paya Priti Dharmadvaji Shatya Jana Jivana Eiriti. They are not attracted to the holy name of the Lord. Krishna Nama Kare Tabo Nai Paye Priti. So we can always gauge ourselves, measure ourselves, and see how much we have attraction for the holy name. If we have not developed attraction for the holy name, that means we have been committing offense, and especially the worst of the offense, that we are still caught up in I and mine. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very heavy. They are only hypocrites, dharmadvaji, shatya, cheaters, who wrap themselves in the garb of religion. They are dharmadvaji. That is their way. Helana uchare nama kichu punya hoy प्रीति फल नाही पाले प्रीति फल nahi fale sarvashastra kahe. Still, even if they speak it without any respect, when they take the holy name without respect, helna means without respect, ucharane nama, kichu punne pa hoy, their utterance of the holy name brings them some pious credit. So they get some punya. They do not attain the result of being attracted to the holy name. Priti phala, nahi phale. Phale means it will not get fructified. And this is said in all the scriptures. Sarva Shastra kahe. So, in fact, one of the most important aspects in our chanting, which we include, is to take the holy name with a lot of respect. Just like a very respectable person, like the president or the prime minister, is in your house, how much with respect you will serve him, you will attend to him, fully absorbing your consciousness and not attending to the menial, trivial works at home, because such a great personality has come in your house. Similarly, the Lord is non different from the holy name. And when we are taking the holy name, we should take the holy name with respect, with full attention and with full focus. If we don't do that, then it will be Helena, as you know, Helena Uchar. That is why Rupa Goswami in the Upadesh Amrit, he is mentioning Kintu Adarat Anudinam Kalusaiva Jishtat. Kintu Adarat, one who takes with respect, Anudinam, every day, regularly, Kalusaiva Jushtat. If he does this, Swadvi Kramat, the taste will slowly come in. Tada Mula Gada Hantri. And the root of the disease, that is Ahankar, is destroyed. So Rupa Goswami is speaking about this in the Upadeshamrit text 7, I guess. Vector of instruction, text 7. Yes, this is the verse. Swat Krishnamadi Charitadi Sitapya Avidya. Pittopatapta Rasanasya Na Ruchikanu. So the Krishna's name, pastimes, qualities, they are like nectar, like sugar candy. But one who is having the disease of avidya, and avidya is compared to jaundice, pittopatapta. In jaundice, according to Ayurveda, when the pitta gets aggravated, one gets jaundice. And just like one is affected with jaundice, he has to regularly take sugar candy, especially jaggery. And slowly the disease, jaundice, is eliminated from the root. Similarly, we have disease of avidya. Although Krishna's name, which we are taking, is actually filled with nectar, but because of our disease of avidya, we cannot taste it. Kintu adarat. So, what is the solution? Rupa Goswami is giving adarat. Adarat means here careful or with respect. Anudinam, every day, and then Prabhupada is saying 24 hours a day. Or so every day will refer to Vaidhi sadhakas, 24 hours will refer to specially Raganuga sadhakas, those who are practicing Raganuga bhakti and then Bhava and Prema bhakti. Kalu, naturally, Sir, that sugar candy, Eva Jushtat, when it is chanted, Swadvi, you'll find it relation, Kramat, gradually. And then Tadagada, that disease, Mool, root, Antri is destroyed. The disease of Ahankara is destroyed. Now, from this verse, we have to understand how much deep is our disease of avidya. Now, how many devotees would admit that when I take the holy name, do I find it nectar on my tongue? How many devotees will say yes? Can raise their hands. How many devotees feel that when I take the holy name, on my tongue, I feel that it is like nectar? Can raise your hands. How many devotees feel like that? Okay. How many devotees don't feel like that? That when I take the holy name on my tongue, it tastes like nectar. Don't feel like that. Let me also. Yes. So, yes, many are quite sincere and honest about it. Now, okay, you can lower your hands. Practically everyone has raised their hands. Now, avidya is destroyed at the stage of bhava bhakti. At the stage of bhava, end of asakti and beginning of bhava bhakti, avidya is fully destroyed. There is kleshagni, prarabdha and aprarabdha, and then there is papam, and then avidya. These three. So avidya gets fully destroyed at the end of asakti and beginning of bhava stage. So definitely our disease is very deep rooted. Now, especially in Ayurveda, depending on the depth of the disease, the medicine is given. And one has to very meticulously and carefully take the medicine. Otherwise, he'll not become free from the disease. So our disease, spiritual disease, is very deep rooted. We should note that. And that is why we have to understand that this disease is deep rooted. And that's why we should be careful and with respect take the holy name and not commit aparadh. And then slowly we will get attraction or taste to the holy name. Otherwise, we will not get attraction because all the shastras are saying, Priti phala nahi phale. It will not happen. So this is text 30. Now let us see some of the points from the slides. Third 28 to 32. If you have any questions, you can always raise your hands. Following along with the crowd, some people may make a show of chanting even though they have no faith in Shri Krishna name. So sometimes we just follow the crowd and we just take up to practice the holy name because others are doing. But we lack that deep faith. Being supremely kind, the Lord blesses them with rewards. But because their consciousness is steeped in gross materialism, their reward is material. Remember, Namaprad will only bestow material results up to Swarga. We should be very, very careful about it. And you can get opulence in this world also. It's only Namabhas which can bestow liberation, and Shuddhanam can bestow Krishna Prem. So if we want to attain Krishna Prem, we have to cross this Namaprad stage and come at least to the Namabhas stage. Their intelligence is stolen by the illusion of Maya, Maya Pritagyana. Thus, when an atheist chant mentions the Lord's holy name, he may chant Namabhas and receive piety in return. But Namabhas will never give the desired result of chanting, which is Krishna Prem, as I was mentioning. Now, there are different types of chantings, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur has discussed especially the third chapter of the Harinam Chintamani. This is discussed thoroughly in chapter 3 of Shri Harinam Chintamani. Now, those who have not attended this third chapter, I'll just summarize, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the third chapter deals with Namabhas. And he says, one who understands this chapter of Namabhas, he will definitely attain Krishna Prema. So I'll just summarize. We know that there are these three stages of chanting: Namaprad, Namabhas, and Shuddhanam. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur further analyzes that there are four types of Namabhas: Sanket, Parihasya, Stoba, and Hela. Sanket means indicating something else. And within Sanket, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there are two divisions. One is the name of Vishnu intends to refer someone else and is material. This is their conception. So Ajamil called out Narayan, but he did not indicate Narayan Bhagavan, indicated his son. So he called out at the time of death. So that is actually Sanket. And without being aware that the name of Vishnu we call out, like the Yavana calling Haram, not aware it is the name of Vishnu, that Ram or Narsimha or Krishna, we don't know that it is the name of God. We don't know. So we just take the name. So that is Sanket. Parihas means laughing, in joking way. Stoba means out of contempt. Helana means out of disrespect. So like that, these four types of Namabhas, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes on quite in detail to explain these four types of Namabhas with examples in the third chapter. He says that these four types are Ashraddha Namabhas. We don't have faith in the holy name. But he speaks then later on about Shraddha Namabhas. And within Shraddha Namabhas, he says there are two divisions, Chaya Namabhas and Pratibimba Namabhas. Chaya means shadow, Pratibimba means reflection. Now, just like the sun reflection is there in the water, and in the water you can see the sun, but it is moving because the water waves are there. And in fact, the sun might reflect on the walls also. So that is what is called as pratibimb, reflection. Chaya is like shadow. Now, when I'm standing, if the light is there in front, my shadow will be backside. But the shadow is connected to me because where the end of my foot is there, from there the shadow begins of my body. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions the Mayavadis who chant Pratibimba Namabhas. But he later on goes on to mention that the devotees who have faith, Shraddha, who have understood the glories of the holy name, they should cross the Namaprad stage and chant Chaya Namabhas. And from Chaya Namabhas, one should go to Shuddhanam. So that is now the sequence. From Namaprad, you should go to Chaya Shraddha Namabhas and then come to Shuddhanam. So an entire chapter Bhaktivinoda Thakur has dedicated to explain this. I just summarize this. So those who chant like this, they will never get the desired Krishna Prem because they are chanting either Ashraddha Namabhas or they are chanting Pratibhimba Namabhas. Mostly it is Ashraddha Namabhas, which is having these four categories. So faith will come when we hear from the pure devotees. Then with that faith, equipped with that faith, and when we chant, then we are properly situated. As atheists chant with neglect, Helena, they at best end up chanting Namabhas, Ashraddha Namabhas. I mentioned that in the chat. However, when the sadhaka chants the holy name, considering himself the most fallen and wretched sinner of all, he does so to please the Lord or to gain purification so that he can eventually please the Lord. Now, these two ways of chanting are diametrically opposed and give opposite results. Material motivated chanting gives material piety and keeps one in the cycle of action and reaction. Whereas spiritually motivated chanting brings one to the platform of associating with saintly characters whose hearts are completely free from the contamination of lust and greed. So the difference between chanting of a sadhaka and atheists who have no shraddha, their chanting is being mentioned. This kind of chanting frees one from material bondage and does not give karma. Instead, the Lord kindly takes away a devotee's karma, both good and bad. For this reason, it is imperative to chant in a devotional mood and to chant as much as possible. When one does this, he becomes eligible to receive the mercy of the pure devotee. So we should come to the platform of Shraddha Namabhas, and within Shraddha Namabhas, we should come to the platform of Chaya Namabhas. In the association of the pure devotee, one receives the mercy of the pure devotee and thus develops the urgency of the pure devotee. The sense of urgency is that I should get purified. Just like a man may acquire a contagious disease by coming in close proximity with one who has this disease, similarly, the spiritual madness of divine love for the Lord is extremely contagious. Now, devotees and all over the world, people have experienced because of this COVID. How contagious is it? Just coming in close contact with a person and you get the virus. So, similarly, Prabhupada says, spiritual, this is also contagious. Just coming in the association of a pure devotee for a moment, lava matra, you can catch the disease. And you'll also be bestowed with Shraddha by which you will take up to the holy name. That's how powerful it is, especially of a Uttam Adhikari and a Mahabhagavat. When one comes in proximity of a pure devotee who has this Divya Mad, divine madness, it rubs off. In this way, Shri Harinam Chintamani says, only one who acquires a taste for pure devotional service becomes disgusted with material life, leaving it, he takes full shelter of the holy name. How does this disgust come about? Lord Chaitanya gives answer to this. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kohe, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. The verdict of all revealed scriptures, Sarva Shastra Kohe, is that by even a moment's association, Lavamatra Sadhu, with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. Sarva Siddhi Hoy. In Srila Prabhupada's purport to this verse, he tells how, according to astronomical calculations, lava, as in the word lavamatra, is 1/11 of a second. 1/11 of a second is lava. There is an interesting pastime. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he was in Mayapur, he was riding on a bullock cart and going somewhere. And in the Mayapur that time, all the villagers were doing agriculture. So in Bengali, he just spoke to the farmer, "Bhalo ache, how are you doing? Ki koriben, or what are you doing?" So this farmer just replied, and just by hearing the words coming from the pure devotee like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the sound vibration had entered his heart. And that association, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Pulakat went ahead. And just by that association, this farmer's heart was transformed. And later on, he became a sannyasi. So that is lava matra, 1/11th of a second. In this way, one first becomes eligible to chant the holy name via performing Agyat Sukruti. And when one chants in the association of devotees, he becomes eligible to receive the mercy of the pure devotee, sadhu. So Agyat Sukriti gets matured, Shraddha is there, and with faith you take the holy name, you get the sadhu sangha, pure devotees, and by the mercy of the sadhu sangha, you engage more in bhajan kriya. From this, we can understand that it doesn't take too long to be infected with the stirrings of love in the presence of a pure devotee. In the Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur himself mentions that once his spiritual master, uh, when he had gone to take his darshan, he just, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji just took his 2 feet and, rubbed it on the head of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And when he got this kind of a mercy, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says he was intoxicated for almost a year. For a year, he was not able to come out of it. So that was the kind of unmad Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was having in Krishna Prem, which infected also Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So this can be the Divya Unmad. So the stirrings of love in the presence of the pure devotee, you can get infected very quickly. Then what is the problem? In relation to the trust of these texts, we find that faith in the holy name is lacking in the body of the materialist, and his offenses against the Lord cause him to see only the gross material items that he thinks are connected to his reality due to possessiveness, due to I and mine. So, although this is the situation with sadhu sang, you can get intoxicated with love of Godhead, but because we lack faith and still we are highly materialistic, we commit offenses to the Lord, especially Namaprath. And that is why uh, we are still caught up in this illusion world and everything in terms of I and mine, we say. Now, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, in his work, Madhurya Kadambini, when he's speaking about the 10 offenses, he gives a very interesting insight. He doesn't deal with all the 10 offenses, but some of the offenses he goes quite into detail, especially of a Vaishnava Aparadh. And that is first offense, you can say, committing offense to the devotees who are propagating the holy name. And it's not only a pure devotee, it can be any Vaishnava. So there he goes on to mention that the Mahaprasad of the Lord is so potent that just by having the Mahaprasad, one can control his tongue. Prapancha Jaya, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur also in his bhajan says. But we see that we have been taking Mahaprasad for so many years, instead of our senses coming under control, we go out of control by overeating Mahaprasad. And he says that although the prasad is highly potent and spiritual, still because just like in Ayurveda, one has a stomach disease, although the medicine is potent, because the disease is there in the body, the medicine's full potency is not fully absorbed in the body and the patient still doesn't recover. Similarly, because of offenses, we cannot fully experience the full potency of the Mahaprasad and cannot control our senses. That is because of Vaishnava Parad. The second reason he mentions, he quotes this famous verse from the Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavatam, this very famous verse is there in the second canto. I think it is the last verse of this chapter. Not this, maybe it is third chapter then. Yes. Tadashmasaram hridayam patedam yad grahamanar harinama dehe na vikriyata yada vikara netre jalam gatra raheshu harsha. Certainly that heart is steel framed. Ashmasaram. Ashma is steel. Which, in spite of chantings, one's chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Yad Grayamanam Harinama Dehe, with concentration, Dehe means concentration, does not change even when one displays such signs of transformation as tears in the eyes and ecstatic standing of hairs on end. So, if we are not experiencing, although we are attentively chanting, and there are no signs of Ashtasattvic Vikar, now it is high time that we also awaken. After so many years, we have been chanting and we don't see any symptoms. What in this verse it is mentioned. Then Vishwanath Chakra Thakur concludes, it is then definitely because of aparad. It is because of offenses. That's how he concludes. So it is only because of offenses that we are not able to experience Krishna Prema. Such devotee should not be taught the intimate glories of the holy name in the form of Smaran Leela. So there is in Raganuga Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti main limb is Smaran, remembrance. Because the heart is pure, one can continuously remember Krishna. So especially there are very intimate pastimes which we can remember, especially the Ashtakaliya Leela, the eightfold pastimes which Krishna does in the spiritual world. And there is the Gauranga Ashtakaliya Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's eightfold pastimes which he does in Gaur Leela. One should never delve into these topics. Otherwise, because his mind is material, he will simply commit offenses, and in fact, his material diseases will increase. Only those who are come to the stage of Nishta, who are qualified to practice Raganuga Bhakti, and under a guidance of a Rasika, pure devotee, they can go into these Smaran Leelas. But somehow faith must be given to them in the form of prasad, Harinam Sankirtan, and book distribution to improve their fallen condition. So, Anarth Nivritti has still not happened. So, we should more engage in Nam Sankirtan, book distribution, and Seva. When a beginner studies the Bhagavatam cantos 1 to 9, he becomes eligible for more intimate knowledge. So Srila Prabhupada, in his introduction to the Bhagavatam, in the preface or the introduction, he mentions that one should study chapter by chapter, canto by canto, systematically from first canto till the ninth canto. And by the end of the ninth canto, one who has assimilated, he says assimilated, not studied, who has assimilated the teachings of the first nine canto becomes a self-realized soul. Then he can enter into the 10th canto purposes. So just mere reading of the Bhagavatam cantos 1 to 9, and you go 10th canto and you read 10th canto, you don't feel any rasa. Of course, when we hear Krishna Katha coming from pure devotees, especially Krishna Leela spoken by very exalted sannyasis, we relish the Bhagavatam pastimes, especially Krishna's pastimes in the 10th canto. But when we are studying, we might not relish that rasa because we have just studied the Bhagavatam. We have not studied, contemplated, and assimilated it. So that's why repeatedly one should study the first 9 cantos And then when one has become very steady, when has attained the stage of Nishta, then rasa in the form of Krishna's pastimes becomes relishable when one studies the 10th canto. So any questions regarding this, what we discussed now, up till now? Any questions, any clarifications? Any questions or any clarifications anyone has up till now what we discussed? Yes, Satanand Chaitanya Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, and Pranam. My question is related to that paragraph that we read, that atheists who basically chant the holy name without faith, they are rewarded with some material benefits. Is that the reason, like we see initially a lot of people join the movement and they chant, but as soon as they get some material benefit, we see them leaving the movement, and then they are lost in the material world? Is that one of the reasons, Prabhu?
Yes, that is one of the reasons, because their faith was not solidly grounded. So Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, especially in his Madhurya Kadamani, when he discusses the stages, Shraddha, Sadhusang, and Bhajan Kriya, he mentions Shraddha, faith. What is the definition of faith? Faith, he gives a very interesting definition. Faith means to have faith in the Bhakti Shastri literatures. And not only that, what is the sign that you have faith? That you follow the injunctions given in the Bhakti Shastri literatures and start leading that kind of a life. And then he mentions that this Shraddha is of two types, Swabhaviki and Balutpadiki. Swabhaviki means natural, and Balutpad means forcibly. So, forced preaching, one sannyasi was giving a lecture and he was mentioning that once he was in Jew temple and in the evening two guests had come and one brahmachari started preaching him, and the preaching went on till late in the night, and these were hearing. And next day morning, when the sannyasi came for the Mangalarti, these two people were already shaved head. They had joined the ashram. And after 1 year, 2 years, they were again back out in the material world. So this kind of preaching, instilling faith out of force, balutpad, this will not work for a long time. Swabhaki is natural. You give the philosophy and allow them to grow naturally to take it up. That is why one of the things which has been our observation is that many parents who take up to Krishna consciousness, they have faith, they have taken to the practice and that kind of a life, but their children, they have not grown, they have not experienced that, and they don't have that kind of knowledge also because they're still young. But they want their children to become Krishna conscious, and they force upon the children, they force upon the children Krishna consciousness. And when they force, the children might take up under parents' pressure, but it is not natural. And later on, sometimes they become very much against Krishna consciousness. One family, which is quite well known to me, his son is just 25 years, 26 years. He's a businessman. And he had come to drop me to the temple. And while discussing, he said, I want to attend the course which you are going to take on Bhagavad Gita. Because in my childhood, my father forced me to chant. And from then onwards, I was completely against this practice because it was forced upon me. That's what he said. So that is why Swabhaviki, our preaching should be natural. Allow them to grow, allow them to give the knowledge and allow them to take it up naturally and not by force. If it is Balutpada, that Shraddha is there, then it will not sustain for long. I hope it is clear, Satananda Chaitanya Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Haribol.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam. Prabhuji, I just wanted to know why it happens that if a person he takes interest in the 10th canto and he falls down, why it happens like that?
Yes, this is very important. If one directly takes to the 10th canto, Prabhupada repeatedly in his Bhaktivedanta purports in all first 9 cantos, many times hammers and hammers and hammers and hammers that one should not directly go to the Raspanchadhyaya, he says, which is the topmost, which is only relished by liberated souls who are Rasikas. Because then they will, without having the Siddhanta, solid philosophy background as to who is Krishna, from whom this universe comes, the different avatar pastimes are all made, all narration. Actually, the whole Bhagavatam is supposed to come to the whole purpose of the Bhagavatam is to come to 10th canto. But it is, the preparation is from first to 9 cantos. So when we don't do this progression, then what happens is we will, instead of the Hridaya Roga, the disease of the heart, which is lust, instead of it getting reduced or getting destroyed, the disease of the heart will increase and then will become more materialistic. So, especially the intimate pastimes of the Lord and most of the books, like for the Srimad Bhagavatam, I can say 10th canto. There are 10th canto commentaries by Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and there are many works of Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, which discuss very nice, wonderful Krishna Lila pastimes. We don't have adhikar for it. We have to admit we don't have adhikar. First, come to this point of realizing we are not this body, we are spirit soul. That takes many years. And until we are not self-realized, we always have a danger that we might slip in. So even in Ayurveda, when the disease is there, and when you are taking the medicine, suppose if the medicine also is given in a dose which can slowly impact the disease, a high dose potent medicine, if it is given, then the patient will jolt back and become more diseased. So that is why the same thing happens, and it has been my observation over many years that devotees who don't have adhikar for uh, uh, discussing or reading these exalted books of the intimate pastimes, ultimately they more fall back into the material. So that's why we should be very, very careful about it. And especially in today's world where all these literatures are easily available in our bookstores and even online. So we should see whether we have adhikar. It's a simple thing. I'm second standard. I'm learning mathematics, addition, subtraction, multiplication. I'm not qualified to understand trigonometry calculus. What to speak of engineering mathematics like Laplace equation. So similarly, we should see whether we have adhikar because all these literatures are available. Do we have adhikar to read? As students, what was 8th standard syllabus? We studied only those books. We did not study PUC 1 books, or we did not study engineering books. So in Bhakti, then why don't we follow this? Seeing our level, whether we have adhikar to study these higher books. So that is what we need to carefully evaluate, and accordingly, based on our adhikar, we should study the Vaishnava literatures. Is it clear, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Yes, Maya Narasimha Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much, Prabhu. Just relation to what you just now spoke, Prabhuji, regarding talking and hearing about 10th canto and Krishna Leela. But we see, Prabhuji, our movement itself is ISKCON, which includes the name Krishna consciousness. And it is invariable fact that oftentimes we hear about Krishna exclusively, may not be of the 5 Pancha Rasa Dhya which are there, but mostly about Krishna only we will be hearing. And in fact, Vyasdev also mentions in this, in the first canto we see the Yasyam Vai Shruyamanayam Krishna Parama Purushe. bhaktirutpadyate vamsha shoka moha bhayapaham. And also tava vikreditam Krishna. In that verse also exclusively the word Krishna and his pastimes are mentioned. So invariably we hear about Krishna. So only thing I feel what you said is that we should not try to speculate and try to understand the technicalities of those exalted subjects. Rather we can give some simple oral reception to these pastimes. Still they have a lot of effect on our consciousness, as these verses are promising. So, what do you
No,
say?
again, I would like to make it clear here that yes, uh, our goal is to hear Krishna Lila only. But where it all begins from, it begins from the foundation, the basic Bhagavad Gita course. Bhagavad Gita is also Krishna Lila, but it is philosophy. And then there are other books, Science of Self-Realization, the small books, the Bhakti Shastri courses are there. Then we are initially recommended to at least study the first canto and then come to the second canto. The second canto is one of the most difficult cantos in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the first cantos are, in fact, uh, compared in the Padma Puran to the lotus feet of the Lord. And there, Prabhupada in the second canto mentions that one who has not still thoroughly understood the first two cantos and one who is not firmly situated in the lotus feet of the Lord by understanding the first two cantos, one should not go to the third canto also, he says. So the point is that we need to systematically, regularly study the Srimad Bhagavatam from the first canto to the second canto, third canto, and like that, go up to the ninth canto. First thing. Secondly, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur brings out this point in the fifth canto because many times the Virata Purusha has been described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is there in the second canto 3 times. It is there in the third canto, in the creation pastime, in Kapil Shiksha pastimes. It is there in the fifth canto when the geography of the universe is mentioned. So why, uh, the Srimad Bhagavatam is so many times describing this Virat Purusha? So there that conversation in the form of a conversation, Vishwan Chakra Thakur replies in his purport that actually, where is Krishna here, we might see. And there the answer he gives, actually, the pastimes of Krishna are like the Upanishads, which are difficult. And he says that Virat Purusha pastimes of how the Lord creates this universe and all, these are the pastimes which we performs with Maya, with the Bhairanga Shakti. So for the conditioned souls, repeatedly hearing the pastimes of how the Lord performs his Leela with the Maya Shakti is more important than the pastimes of the Antaranga Shakti or the Yoga Maya, which is especially Krishna Leela. And he says, we might think, Virat Purusha pastimes, Virat Purusha concept, Virat Purusha creation concept and all, the pastimes are difficult and Krishna Leela is easy, but Vishnu Chakra Thakur says the opposite. He says, no, Virat Purusha is easy. Krishna Leela is like Upanishads. Because these pastimes of the 10th canto are all done under the shelter of the internal potency of the Lord. And we are still now caught in Maya. And that is our disease. So we need to, we need to repeatedly study the Srimad Bhagavatam from first canto till the ninth canto. And again, maybe first canto and second canto repeatedly. Now, this is first thing. Secondly, I would like to point out that in our regular temple classes, whichever canto is going on, we hear. Or sometimes there is katha, where sannyasis speak on Krishna's pastimes. Because it is coming from pure hearts, from such pure souls, that is uplifting and purifying for us. That we should definitely do. And the verse you quoted, Vikriditam Vrajavadur Idam Cha Vishnu, that verse of the Falashruti of the Rasa Panch Adhyay, in fact, that verse is very much misunderstood. And that is why I would like to show you this verse and bring out the understanding. So this is at verse Vikriditam vrajavadu biridam cha Vishnu Shraddhayanvito anushuyat ata varnayetya Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam Hridroga ashvapnoti achirena dhira. Vikriditam, that is the sporting pastimes which Krishna does with the women. This is Ras Leela. This is the Falashruti of the Ras Panchadhyaya. And Idam cha Vishnu. Interesting here, it is not mentioned as Krishna. Krishna performed the Ras Leela, but here it is said Vishnu. Why Sukdev Goswami is saying Vishnu? To make us understand that actually this Krishna who performed this Ras Leela is none other than Vishnu. Vishnu is a very Gambhir personality. You know, Karandakshay Vishnu, Shiradakshay Vishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, who does his creation pastimes. He would not, do these kind of entertainment, but he is none other than the source of Vishnu. And Shraddhayanvita, faithfully, Anushuyat, hears, Varne describes. So what is the fruit? Bhaktim Param. Now, Bhaktim Param refers to transcendental devotional service. Para Bhakti refers to Bhava Bhakti or Prema Bhakti. So, one who hears and describes, that means those who are purified their heart to a great extent, that is one who has reached Nishtha and further he's practicing Ragana Bhakti, that is the time when he gets taste for hearing Krishna Lila pastimes, because now his mood is to hear more of Vraja pastimes, of maybe Krishna's pastimes with the cowherds if he has Satya Ras mood, or the Vatsalya pastimes if he has a Vatsalya mood. So he will attain Bhakti Param, means he will attain Bhava Bhakti. As you know, this word comes Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Sochati Na Kamshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhakti Labate Param. So Brahma Bhuta stage, one means one is already self-realized. From there he can get Parabhakti. So Parabhakti is only 2 times referred in the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhaktim Param has been mentioned. And then he will completely finish, or Hridaroga, that is Kama Hridaroga, will be completely destroyed. But those who are still not crossed the Anarth Nivritti stage, if they start going into these intimate pastimes, instead of the disease being subsided, the disease will increase. But regularly reading Prabhupada's books, Bhagavatam, canto after canto, and getting a chance to hear Krishna Leela spoken by pure devotees is okay, and it is purifying. But if we make efforts, try to read these intimate pastimes without having the adhikar, then there is always some danger. I hope it is clear, my Narasimha Prabhuji.
Yeah, okay, Prabhu, thank you. But I was referring to some other verse, Prabhuji. Anyway, I got the...
Yasya Vaishwayamanam, what you referred is in the
No,
first
not that. Second one, Tava Vikriditam Krishna Nunam Parama Mangalam Karnam Piyusham Aswadya Tejantanyas Pruham Jana. It comes in the 11th canto, Prabhu.
Yeah, that is in the 11th canto then.
There also name Krishna is coming. Tava Vikriditam Krishna.
Yes, that is different. The goal is ultimately to hear Krishna Lila, but preparation is there of the avatar kathas.
Yeah, I got it.
That's why there are avatar kathas from 3rd canto till the 9th canto. And then avatari katha is there in the 10th canto and the 11th canto.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. I got clarity now.
Yes, Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी. एक्चुअली अभी आपने बताया कि बुक्स रीडिंग का कि आफ्टर 9th कैंटो यू कांट, इफ यू कांट रियलाइज देन यू कांट गो टू 10th. तो हाउ कैन वी नो कि हाउ, मतलब हमने कैसे रियलाइज किया है, मतलब आई कांट अंडरस्टैंड दिस.
Okay. Yes, Prabhupada's statement that by the end of the first 9 cantos, one becomes self-realized soul. One was assimilated this teaching, and then one can enter the 10th canto. So how I can understand this? So even I also began studying the Bhagavatam. It was initially haphazard, but then later on systematically I studied. And as a routine, I also studied the 10th canto, 11th canto, and the 12th canto, but I did not relish so much the rasa, what is there in the 10th canto. Then when I deeply delved in the introduction, I found, oh, Prabhupada is not one who has studied, but one who has assimilated and become a self-realized soul. Oh, then I said, again, let me start reading the first canto. So how we can come to know is, one dives into rasa. When one goes into 10th canto, one dives so much into the Bhagavatam rasa that he is floating in the ocean of rasa. So this is a symptom by which we can know that, yes. Another symptom is whether one has attained the stage of Nishta. And Nishta has its own symptoms. So in the Madhuri Kadamani, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur speaks about the stage of Nishta. And Nishta has these 5 symptoms: Laya, Vikshepa, Apratipati, Rasaswad, and Laya, Vikshep, Apratipati, Rasaswad. I don't remember the 5th one. Somehow I'm forgetting it. But Laya means sleep. So when Bhagavatam class is going on, whether you're feeling it like nectar and you're awake and hearing and relishing the nectar, it is like Karnapiyusham, whether we are feeling like that or you feel dozy. So Laya, there are 3 levels he speaks. Laya is highest in chanting. Second, he says in hearing. No, second is in kirtan, and at first level in japa. Sorry, japa, kirtan, and hearing. So we have experienced when the Bhagavatam class is going on, the tendency to sleep is very deep. Maybe in the kirtan, when the kirtan is going on, we might not go to sleep. And the deepest level is when we are chanting, we can go to sleep. So he is absolutely free from laya, one who's at the stage of Nishta. Vikshepa means distractions. Although there is some noisy sound coming out there, because he has got absorption in Bhagavatam, he will not get distracted by that sound. Whereas one whose heart is not pure enough, that distraction becomes, he loses his attention of hearing the Bhagavatam class or his japa, because that is disturbing. His mind, his chitta is getting driven in that direction where the sound is coming. So he is free from vikshep. Apratipatti. Apratipatti means when laya and vikshep also not there, one doesn't have, uh, zeal to perform devotional activities. So one is not feeling sleepy, there is no distraction, but still he is not able to absorb in the Bhagavatam class. That is called as aprati. And the fourth one I remember now, it is kashaya. Kashaya means, in Ayurveda there is kashaya. If you drink kashaya, kashaya is also one kind of among the 6 rasas, especially those medicines which are very bitter to taste, kashaya. So similarly, the one who's at the stage of Nishta, he doesn't have kashaya, means that he doesn't, have still uh, qualities like becoming angry on devotees, expressing anger. All these kind of qualities are not present. The 5th one he says is rasaswad. Rasaswad means his mind doesn't take uh, mundane pleasure in mundane sense objects. So if we have these 5 symptoms, then we are at the stage of Nishta. And at the stage of Nishta, one is a self-realized soul. So definitely, then 10th canto is more relishable. Is it clear, Mataji?
हाँ यस माता जी, यस प्रभु जी, सॉरी, इट्स क्लियर। और एक क्वेश्चन था प्रभु जी, जैसे आपने बताया रीडिंग का सीरीज श्री प्रभुपाद की बुक्स का, तो एक्चुअली आई हैवंट रीड स्मॉल बुक्स ऑफ प्रभुपाद। आई जस्ट स्टार्टेड विद भगवत गीता, मतलब भगवत गीता पढ़े और बाद में आई एम रीडिंग जस्ट नो भागवतम, तो वी आर नो इन फोर्थ कैंटो। बट वो छोटी बुक्स जो मैंने पढ़ी नहीं, तो आई हैव टू रीड इट, और हाउ इज इट?
Actually, for the Bhagavad Gita, there are some foundational books like Beyond Birth and Death is based on the second chapter of the Gita, and then there are other books of the small books like Raj Vidya is one small book based on the ninth chapter of the Gita. They act like more like perfection if you guys based on the sixth chapter of the Gita. So like that, they might help you to more understand the Bhagavad Gita, and it is recommended that we can read it. So another question is there here on the chat box. Prabhu, is it Krishna book 10 canto which Prabhupada gave it to the world free to read to everyone? Yes. Now regarding Krishna book, I did not mention. Now Prabhupada, out of his boundless compassion, gave the summary study of 10th canto in the form of Krishna book. And Prabhupada said, just by reading this one Krishna book, love of Godhead will manifest. And he regularly recommended his devotees to read the Krishna book every day as a sadhana. Now, many other things we should note about the Krishna book. Prabhupada says, in one conversation when one of the disciples was reading the Krishna book and especially the Raspanchadhyay, he said, I am becoming disturbed. Then Prabhupada said, don't read. Skip those chapters and read the others. Not only Prabhupada gave the pastimes in the Krishna book, but if you see the way Prabhupada wrote the Krishna book is he gave the philosophy. So along with the philosophy, solid philosophy, he has given the pastimes. So that in one sense, a wonderful combination helps us to understand Krishna Lila. So that's how we should read Prabhupada's Krishna book. It is recommended because Prabhupada more also speaks about the philosophy there. Another thing, what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur recommends is that Krishna performs two kinds of pastimes. One is called as the Nitya Leela and another is called as the Naimittik Leela. The Nitya Leela are the eternal pastimes what Krishna does in the spiritual world, like the Ras Leela. The Naimittik Leela are the pastimes which he specifically performs when he comes as an avatar here. Just like killing of the demons, because there are no demons in the spiritual world. So only there is a rumor that this demon is coming, but there are no demons. There's no killing of demons which happens in the spiritual world. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that in Krishna Leela, the sadhaka should be reading more than Naimittik Leela compared to the Nitya Leela. Because Naimittik Leelas, all these demon killings by Krishna, all these demons represent anarthas in our heart. And the more we read these Naimittik Leelas, Krishna killing Agasur, Putana, all these, each of these demons represent a specific anartha in our heart. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a quite detail what this Asura represents, what anartha. And the more we read this Krishna Leela, especially the Naimittik Leela, the more the anartha will happen. And ultimately, we'll become qualified. Then Krishna book will also become more relishable. So Prabhupada has given this combination and we should definitely read the Krishna Leela. Okay. Is it clear, Vikram Rajbhoit Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, very clear. Thank you.
There is another question. Yes, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, just now you explained about Nishtha. So Nishtha comes after Anartha Nivrutti only.
Yes.
Can you explain about Anartha Nivrutti a bit?
Anartha Nivritti is the fourth stage among the 9 stages of devotion. Anartha means that which is, having no value. So this Anartha Nivritti, there are many. In fact, Vishnu Chakra Thakur goes on in quite a detail. And we know the Shad Ripus, the 6 enemies. These are also anarthas: Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madhya, and Matsari. These are because of the modes of passion and ignorance. So anarthas, like that, Vishnu Chakra Thakur classifies into different categories. Maybe let me see whether we can show you those categories. Yes. Okay. Yes. I think, okay, yesterday's class we discussed this. Okay. So in the Madhurika Damni, the third chapter, Anarth Nivriti, he mentions that unwanted desires, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, but he classifies it to different. Anartha means unwanted desires in the heart, and Nivriti means to cease. And he says there are 4 kinds: Dushkrututta, Sukrututta, Apradutta, and Bhaktutta. Anarthas arising for sinful activities. That is Kama, Krodha, and all that there. And we have the Papa Pravritti because of previous sinful impressions. And Anarthas coming from pious deeds, pious conditioning. And yesterday I was, I think, mentioning how when is because of his pious acts, he is very wealthy and he is not able to seriously practice a devotional life because wealth is attracting him. Then Aparadutta is anarthas coming from offenses. And Bhaktiutta is anarthas coming from devotional service. When devotional service is not properly performed, we commit aparad while performing devotional service. And this one should be careful, especially the seva aparads while performing devotional service. So an entire chapter, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur speaks about these anarthas and how these anarthas get destroyed. So in brief, it is these 4 types of anarthas, and when these anarthas get destroyed, then one reaches the stage of nishtha. Okay, fine. Any other clarifications or questions anyone has? Okay, so we discussed only a short section today from 28 to 32, where Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that one not understanding even the glories of the holy name, he doesn't have faith, and he takes the holy name, is not attracted to the holy name, he only becomes a dharmadvaji or a cheater in the grab of religion. Such type of chanting, Helana, he gets some pious credits, but it will not give rise to Krishna Prem. In this context, we discussed some of the points in the slides that when we take up to chanting because just others are doing it, but still we are caught in materialism and our reward is material. We are Maya Aprita Jnana. We are caught in illusion. So this kind of chanting can take us only to, they might chant Namabas and get piety. But this kind of Namabas will not give Krishna Prem. And in this context, we spoke that there are this kind of chanting is Ashadha Namabas. So there is Namaprad, Namabas, and Shukna. And within Namabas, there is Sanket, Parihasya, Stova, and Helana. Hela. And in Sanket, there are these 2 categories. And within Namabas, there is Shraddha Namabas and Ashraddha Namabas. The 4 come in Ashraddha Namabas, whereas in Shraddha Namabas, there is Chaya and Pratibim. And Pratibim is what the Mayavadis chant without having the philosophical knowledge. And devotees go from Namaprad to Chaya Namabas to Shuddha Nam. So if we do this kind of chanting, we at best get opposite results. So sadhaka should be very, very careful that he chants Chaya Namabas and then ultimately come to Shuddha Nam. And in this context, we discussed how association with a pure devotee is contagious, who is in Div Unmad, and one will also get taste for pure devotional life and become disgusted with material life. And this is the effect of sadhu sang, which is lavamatra. And he takes up to devotion in the association of a pure sadhu, but he should immediately get infected with love of Godhead, just like immediately the COVID, infection, you get affected and you get the symptoms that you fall sick, fever, you get hospitalized. So immediately with the sadhu sang, you should exhibit symptoms of Krishna prem, but it doesn't happen because of offenses. Still, the materialistic bodily concept is deep rooted, and aham and mama is there. So one should not be, one who is in such a disease, he should not be taught about the intimate glories of the holy name, especially the Smaran Lila, which begins at the stage of Raganuga Bhakti. And one should only study the first 9 cantos, and only then, when one is self-realized, one should go into the pastimes of the Lord. And in this context, we had a good question-answer discussion. So I'll stop here. Shri Harinam Chintamani ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Another question is here. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. In one of the lectures, it was discussed that Anartha Nivrutti, the stage of Anartha Nivrutti, is a very difficult one to cross. And Prabhuji had explained that it is like a camel's hump. So he said that it's very painful also. So I would like to know if any real life example can be quoted in this.
Yeah, see, Anartha Nivrutti stage is exactly like, the graph is there. Sometimes I should make a graph and show you. X axis and Y axis, if you see, and the different stages are here. Shraddha Sadhu Sangha Bhajan Kriya. It's like straight going up, up, up. Very quickly, 1 or 2 years, you're in the association of devotees, you're just flying high in devotional life. Now, Anartha Nivritti is like climbing the mountain. Or if you're driving bicycle, you're driving up the mountain, and a mountain is perpendicular, if you can think about it. So how difficult it is to bicycle. But when you come to the stage of Nishtha, it is like you're on the plateau. And it's like without much effort, now you can drive the bicycle. But Ruchi and Asakti is like going down the mountain. So you need not pedal at all. So once one attains Ruchi in chanting, effortlessly, when he takes the japa bead and takes the name, he's just driven in Nam Ras. So Ruchi, Asakti, and then Bhava is spontaneous attraction, where he's not attracted to Maya at all. So Anartivritti is like climbing the mountain, which is always going to be difficult. So because the heart is still impure, and that is why these act like obstacles. And although one is regularly chanting 16 rounds, one doesn't get fully the full potency of the chanting of the holy names, because the anarthas are, just like sometimes in the stomach there are worms. Although you eat a full meal, all the worms eat away a meal and you still feel hungry. So it's like that. Or it's a married man who was just married and he's in a big company, in a big job, but out of enthusiasm, he buys a flat, he buys a new car, all on loan. And he's got a 50-60 lakh loan. He's earning 5 lakhs a month, but he's working from morning to evening. But at the end of the month, although he's putting so much efforts, what he gets in hand is only 50 or 60,000. Although he's working and the salary is 5 lakhs, but all the major portion of the salary is taken away in paying off the loans for the car and the house for next 10-20 years. In fact, how, especially in the outside world, those who are working in companies, when they take a loan, especially for house, it is for many years. So only after he finishes the loan, after 10-20 years, then when he works for that same amount of time, at the end of the month, he gets full lakh and full 5 lakhs, and fully he can enjoy that 5 lakhs. Similarly, a sadhaka is putting full efforts, but all the chanting is taken in, working on the anarthas. He's full not able to fully get the full potency of the holy name because the anarthas are taking a toll on him. But once one reaches the stage of Nishtha and especially Asakti and Ruchi, he is fully able to relish it because the anarthas are destroyed. So that is how we can understand with these some examples. Is it clear, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you very much.
Okay. Hare Krishna. You think? Okay. Hare Bol.